Our Voice, celebrating the Coretta Scott King Illustrator Awards, features original artwork from 101 award and honor-winning titles by 34 African American authors and illustrators. Awarded annually by the American Library Association for books about the African American experience, the Coretta Scott King Book Awards celebrate African American life and culture. The award commemorates the life and work of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and honor his wife, Mrs. Coretta Scott King, for her courage and determination to continue the work for peace and world brotherhood. This exhibition was organized by the National Center for Children's Illustrated Literature in Abilene, Texas. Today we'll hear from R. Gregory Christie, who won the Coretta Scott King Award 6 times.
Hi, my name is R. Gregory Christie, and I'm an artist and illustrator of award-winning children's books. Some of these books include Freedom in Congo Square, Brothers in Hope, and also Only Passing Through the Story of Sojourner Truth. These books are all featured in the exhibition Our Voice, celebrating the Coretta Scott King Illustrator Awards. I've been an artist for a long time, but in my spare time, I love doing things like bookbinding. So today I'm going to teach you how to make a book of your own. We're going to take an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper like this, and we're going to make a little book out of that. This book's going to have 16 pages, and it's going to have all the beautiful parts of a book. So what we're making is called an accordion folk book, and it's similar to the instrument. As you can see, the pages come out and go back in. So let's talk about some of the parts of a book today. Front cover, back cover, forefront, head, foot, spine. I'm going to refer to these different parts of a book so we can make the class go a little bit more easier. So let's get to it. So what do we need to make a book? We're going to use paper, tape, a glue stick, scissors, and something that we can use to make a nice cover. So when you first get paper and you're a bookmaker, the first thing you want to do is find the grain of the paper. So a lot of people hold their paper up like this and they bounce it. Hamburger style, flip it around and bounce it hot dog style. And the way that the paper bends a lot more easily, that's how the grain is. So if I take this sheet of paper and bend it this way, I see how that feels. Then I bend it the other way, and this way fights me a little bit. I can feel the paper pushing back as I bounce it. So then I know that the grain of the paper goes this way. So if I'm going to make folds and things like that, if I'm doing a traditional book, I would make sure that I fold the paper with the grain. What's also important is that you don't use your fingernails and your hands to do these creases. So I know you might be tempted to lift it up and really crease it, but what I'd like for you to do is to use some kind of tool, a pencil, a bone folder, anything that slides easily across the board and the paper. So anything that slides on your table and anything that slides on the paper is great as a tool to do your creases. So when I actually start to do a fold, I have one hand to hold and another hand to fold. So you may not have a bone folder in your house. I'm going to get a tool like this. This is a very simple thing. I think people use these to move furniture, but it's great for bookbinding, especially if it's a little hand. You can use this to really make strong creases. So first thing I'm going to do is hold it down on the part of the book that I would call the forefront, and I'll fold it over. I'll make sure the head the forefront and the foot all match up and they line up, and I push into the table. Uptown, downtown. Flip it over, uptown, downtown. Now I've made something that looks almost like a greeting card. You're going to open it up from hamburger and you're going to think about doing a hot dog style or a horizontal fold. So now I'm going to take it, hold it down with the forefront, and underneath on the other hand I'm going to fold it. Make sure the forefront, head, and foot are all aligned. And I'll take my other hand and tool and I will fold another crease into here, uptown and downtown. Flip it over, do the same thing. This is what you'll end up with. A nice intersection and creases on both sides and both orientations. So now we made this crease on both sides, the hot dog and hamburger side. Now what you want to do is fold it almost like it's a greeting card again. And this time I'm going to go underneath and fold the forefront back to the spine. So again, the head, the spine, and the foot all are lined up, and I will push into it and make a nice strong crease. Flip it over, and I'll take the other side of the forefront and put it back to the spine. Once it's all lined up, I make another crease. And you're going to end up with something that almost looks like an M for magnificent. So now we want to take it to a hot dog style. And again, you take the forefront, put it back to the spine. And this time, this hot dog is a very long crease, uptown, downtown. Flip it over. You can do the same. Take the other side of the forefront, bring it back to the spine. Make your crease again. And then you end up with this again. M for magnificent or M for messed up, whichever one you did. I did magnificent, I hope you did too. So, as we look at these different creases, and we look at these different rectangles on this sheet of paper, you'll see there's 16. On one side of your paper, there's a crease of 4. So when you cut from the bottom and go almost to the top, but not all the way. You want to make sure you cut the first rectangle, the second, and the top of the third, but don't go past that. So what I'm going to do now is take my scissors and I'm going to cut slowly and carefully. First, second, and third rectangle. You've already creased it, so just try to stay along your crease. Now we've done one side, it's time to cut the other. So again, first, second, and before you get to the top of the third, you stop. And you'll have something that looks like this. When you have the 2 creases cut, you want to flip it over. And you want to cut the center crease. Same rule, cut the first rectangle, second, but when you get to the third, the top of the rectangle on the third, that's where you stop. When it's all done, it looks almost like the letter M. So let's lay that down. You have your letter M laid down right now in front of you. What I'd like for you to do is take your left hand, start on the left side, and I want you to go over, under, over. Just keep doing that. Follow the creases you already made. You'll feel the paper and you'll feel the grain of it go with the flow of things. So when you get to the top of your first row of creases, you almost are on a road and you get into a bridge. So instead of going over the bridge, I want you to go under the bridge. Always go under the bridge, and once you get on the new road, you go over, under, over. You're on a new road, got to get to the bridge, go under the bridge. Over, under, over. And just keep doing that till you get to a bridge. Then make sure you always go under the bridge. You keep doing this crease fold, and you'll end up with something that looks like this. This is the inside of your book. It's also called a signature and also called a magazine. So we're going to put this to the side and we're going to get started on our cover now. Now we're going to make our cover. All you need is a spine and two covers, front and back cover. So when you make a book, it can be any kind of cover. You can use silk paper, you can use a decorative cover, you can use anything you can find. And it's always the same no matter what kind of cover you're doing. No matter how large or small, the cover is a simple butterfly. A stem with two wings, or a body with two wings. Just like a butterfly, a stem, and then you're going to have two wings. Before we start to put this all together, we're going to go back to our accordion fold, and we're going to double check that it actually fits in the front and back cover of our book. So you put the two together, and you use it almost like a deck of cards. Remember, the table's a tool, and I will do this to make sure that it fits within the inside of the book. If it doesn't, I'll cut it to adjust it. So when I do a cover, the first thing I'm going to do is get a piece of tape. I'm going to make sure the tape is a little bit longer than the cover and a little bit longer than the spine. I'll cut that strip of tape, take my fingers and lay it down. I'll take the spine and put it dead center, right on the tape. Then I'll take my two wings and I'll put them not exactly flush with the body of the butterfly, like a little bit of a distance close to it. So once it's down, you want to get to your next step. When you have it to this point and it's not too close to the body, there's a little bit of room in between, and you have a beautiful looking butterfly. You want to use a sheet of paper underneath as you do your fold over. If you do one side or the other, it's not the same even pressure. So what you want to do is lay it down, and you want to take the time to really pull it and fold it at the same time. You want it as flush and flat as you can have it. Then you take your tool and you really rub out any kind of ripples or anything you see in the tape. So I've done one side. Next step is to do the other. Fold it over, really pull. And use your tool. The table is your tool, and also whatever you're using to glide across your paper is your tool. When it's all done, you'll have something very close to a butterfly and a beautiful book cover that's coming your way. Here we are with our beautiful butterfly book cover. You're going to push down into the table to get the spine flush against the paper and the tape, So now we have this all set. We're going to go back to our interior pages. And we want this. We always want to see this kind of T-shape. You want the last couple pages away from the ones that are bunched together. Because what's going to happen is this is going to go on top of that. So once we do that, that's how the book starts coming together. The last part is to actually glue it. Now when you're gluing your book, what you want to do is treat it like this, almost like it's a chair with cushions. This little part here that goes up and down, treat it like a mouth. Feed it. Take a sheet of paper, what we call the paste sheet, and put it in there. And once it closes down, you're ready to start gluing. When you're gluing, you want to hold one finger or two fingers in the center, and you want that mouth fed. And what you want to do is go in one direction. It's almost like if you were painting, brush strokes. But instead of zigzagging where the paper might bunch up and you can get glue underneath, you want to keep it in one direction. That way it flattens out the paper and you glue right over the edge. Don't be afraid to get glue all over your paste sheet, because that's what we're going to need. We don't want glue just in one section. We want the glue to be right past the edge. Once it's all set, take your cover and just, almost like if you were texting, take your two thumbs and slide it so it really lines up in a way you really like with the cover of the book. Once that's in there, the next step is to put your paste sheet, make sure there's no glue underneath, and find your other tool and really rub out any ripples in the glue. If there were anything, any bubbles or anything, it gets rubbed out now. And you get it, it's going to get flat against the book cover. So that's the first part of putting the book in, what we call casing in, putting the interior sheets in. You cased it in on one side. Now you want to case it in on the rest so your book will be complete. So again, it's like a seat cushion. Here's the back of the seat, here are the cushions down here, and it's also like a mouth. I want you to take a clean sheet of paper that doesn't have glue, and I want you to feed the mouth and then close it right on top of it. Once you do that, you do like we did before. You take your fingers and you go in one direction all around them on the back side of that sheet of paper. Keep going. Make sure you get glue all over and get it right to the edge. And it's the last step. You just case in the last part of your book. And there you have an accordion fold book. Take care and thank you.